Welcome back to Old Guy REI. In this episode of Workman Confessions, I wanted to chat for a minute about being in the slow lane. The thought just popped into my head the other day, and I think you can think about it figuratively, metaphorically, but over the years I've thought about it in the moment, being in the moment. Just for example, if you're driving somewhere and most of the time, if you get behind a bus or a slow truck, or in our case, sometimes we'll get behind a tractor going down the road, and you might get frustrated because it's going to take you longer to get where you're going. But at the same time, I think it could be beneficial to take the opportunity to just slow down and relax and be thankful you're behind that vehicle or whatever it might be, because maybe nowadays it's a lot nicer because you can listen to music, you could be listening to a book or a podcast or something, and sometimes you might find yourself thinking, well, it would be nice if it took me a little longer to get home so I could finish this chapter or finish this podcast or whatever it might be. But I went a little bit deeper because I have some friends that have to pack their whole day full of stuff to do, right? And I know we have different seasons in our lives, and sometimes we need to be in the fast lane to get some things accomplished to help us move towards our goals and set things in motion sooner. That way we can benefit from them later. But I think we miss a lot of pretty cool opportunities. A lot of us live in some very beautiful places in the country and don't always stop to smell the roses, for example. I was talking to a friend the other day that mentioned, and he lives in what I would imagine is like one of the most beautiful places in the world. But he was talking about working and trying to get things done, but had to realize where he was. And where he was at the moment was a beautiful place overlooking the ocean. It was very serene, and he did take the moment to take all that in. And I think if we could do that more often, no matter where you live, I'm sure there's something beautiful around you. Even if it's, I don't know, sitting in a park watching kids play or something like that, just enjoying the weather if it happens to be a beautiful day. But my perspective has changed over the years. And getting back to those friends who have to have every minute of their day filled with what they consider as being productive, it usually ends up, at least from what I have seen, it ends up being less productive. For example, if you're the kind of person who has to set a schedule and have, say, an appointment for 1 hour, then you give yourself 15 minutes to get to the next appointment or meeting, and so on. If you start that first meeting and it runs long and then you're late for the next meeting, then that just triggers a chain of events that by the end of the day makes you really frustrated. And I think I have frustrated some of those people as well, because in my line of work, for example, just say I decide I'm going to go install a water heater, and I set the first part of my day up to do that, say from 8 to 12. And you think, well, if that's going to take me 2 or 3 hours, then I could fit another one in the afternoon. So you go do that first water heater, and we all know that plumbing stinks. So it ends up taking you 5 hours to accomplish that job, and you still have the obligation to go install that second one. By the time you do that one, it's already well into your evening. and you're super frustrated. And when you're frustrated, sometimes you just make things more complicated than they need to be. And so when I say I frustrate some of my friends, because I will say, okay, I'm going to go do this water heater. It should take me 2 hours, 3 hours, and that's it. Then I'm going to go home. And they're like, well, you're wasting, you could be making more money in the second half of the day. And in my head, I could make my money for the water heater, go home, relax for the rest of the afternoon, and have a great day. Or try to squeeze two in, be super frustrated because they didn't go as planned. And what's the benefit of that? How much is that money worth going through all that frustration? So sometimes I think about that, getting behind that slow truck, right? You're not in the fast lane. You're not having people behind you pushing you to get out of the way. You can probably enjoy some scenery while you're behind that truck, other than seeing the back of the truck. But around here too, typically when that happens, we're cruising up through the mountains or something, and there's a lot of beautiful scenery up there. I kind of wish I had, well, not kind of, I do wish I had slowed down earlier in my life to enjoy those kinds of things, and my life would have been even that much more richer. So maybe I could suggest to you, and maybe it's going to be hard for you, but just to get in the slow lane once in a while, see what's really around you. Maybe go out in your area, wherever you live, and take notice of all the beautiful things around you. I think you'll be happy you did it. I know I was.